Welcome to the first ever episode of the Biohacker Upgrade. We're here today with Maurice Harvey Hall, affectionately known as Mo. Now, Mo runs the Inner Light Meditation Centre. He's a breathwork facilitator, he's been known as a life coach. He's a Jedi Master when it comes to Tea Ceremonies. So, Mo, thank you very much for joining us on the show and for being our first ever guest.
Wow, I feel really honoured, and thank you for allowing me to step into this space with you.
Oh, very, very welcome.
Yeah.
We've known each other for a few years now.
Yes.
And the original thing that drew me to you and to the centre and Ali is breathwork. Mm. Tell me a little bit about breathwork and how you got started on that.
Yeah, wow. Breathwork was profound for both Ali and myself. First, Ali had found it, and then she'd told me about it. She'd had a holotropic breathwork experience, and I was curious about that. So then I went to the same seminar and to experience it in that way. So I think we did holotropic for about an hour and a half, coming on 2 hours, and no breath holds. It was just full holotropic and allowing free association and whatever to occur. And it was at the end of a 2-day seminar, I think it was quantum experience seminar, that sort of thing. So I pretty much, in a sense, just popped and came back a different person, came back a different version, came back having experiences that I'd never had experiences before. And then I was curious. And so from that, we then started to we did a couple of holotropic courses. We were offering it in the centre, and that was pretty much, we were doing it every day. Then looking at other breathwork techniques, Wim Hof, which is very similar in that way. And then we found breath of fire, lots of the pranayamas from the yogic traditions, and then we just started to expand and experimented in these other modalities. So we still offer breathwork. I don't practice it as much as I used to. Probably more so tea is my practice these days, and every now and then there'll be components of breathwork, and still get very deep insights from it. I've found that breathwork is a very quick way to get into a meditative state, and that's what I like about it. Like, I can do breathwork for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I'm in theta brainwave state, and then I'm able to really sit in a beautiful meditation. So I found that it's been helpful for that. So, and that's some of the reason why we share it with people, for that meditative state, as well as all of the health benefits that then come from it too, which are just immense and profound as well.
Yeah, I've definitely found it to be probably the quickest way to get into a decent meditative state. Because I dabbled in meditation for years.
Yes. With
guided CDs and with techniques like clenching and relaxing to try and get into a meditative state. I don't know if it's my ADHD, but I quickly became bored with a lot of that.
Yeah. And
I found things that would work one day wouldn't work the next. But when I found breathwork, I started doing the Wim Hof stuff before coming to the centre, and started practicing that every day for about 20 minutes, and it just switched my brain on. And then when I found out about holotropic breathwork, which was similar to Wim Hof, but taking it a lot further with breath holds and things like that, and found out that there was a local place that offered it.
Yay!
And it just blew me away.
Yeah.
So what is it about breathwork that gets people into that state?
It's interesting. When I look at breathwork, I look at the different brainwave states. So these are, and they used to call them altered states of consciousness. Stan Groff, who's the primary developer of holotropic, calls them non-ordinary states. So our ordinary state, if we look at it from a brainwave perspective, would be in beta frequency. Problem solving, considering the future, considering the past, bringing that into the now. So through the breath work, what we were noticing is we were shifting into alpha state and then into theta state. So it's actually slowing down the brainwaves. And then when you're in that state, then you can move into even different states like low gamma and high gamma, which is like universal consciousness and deep meditation. So that was primarily the things that we were noticing within it. And to get there, what I've noticed, especially within holotropic, like traditional holotropic, you would breathe for 2 to 4 hours without any breath.
Wow, okay.
And whatever's moving through you is moving through you, and the sitters would hold space for you. So really powerful in that way. We did, in a sense, a hybridized version where we breathe for up to an hour, but there'd be breath holds within that. So what we found was that when you're breathing, there's a priming, there seems to be a pressure gradient that's building within the system. And then when you go into a breath hold, that's the transition from one frequency to another. So in the breath hold is this pressure gradient's even increased, and then you release, and then we then say, hey, just notice where you've landed. Because what you'll find is you're in a different informational field because it's reflective of your brainwave state. Yeah. So hence why it's a great bridge to get to meditation brainwave state. So you're moving yourself out of beta into alpha, into theta, and then potentially into low and high gamma, that sort of thing. So this process, and while you're doing it, things are arising, things are moving through you. You can get physical sensations, you can get psychological stuff, you can get psychedelic stuff. Another word for holotropic is psychedelic breathwork. And that's primarily because there's DMT receptors within the gut as well as the mind. And so with holotropic in the way that we breathe, it's quite disruptive, and it's opening up, we're hyperoxygenating the system, and then we're actually releasing DMT, and then we're having these experiences. We're also recognizing that there's body, there's blood alkaline and acidosis shifts as well, hence the tetany.
Yep, I've experienced that a lot.
Yes, which is pretty wild, it's like lobster claws or T-Rex hands, that sort of thing. So there's these different shifts and changes that are happening, as well as the psychological and the brainwave frequency changes too. So lots happening, lots going on, and that's all, I guess, separate to the actual fundamental benefits physically from it, which we found as well too.
Yeah, I find it definitely helps me to come up with ideas and turbocharge things and work through things. And I can be in a really low energy state, do some breath work, and then all of a sudden everything else just melts away. And had you meditated quite a bit before trying holotropic breath work?
I've always been somebody who has practiced mindfulness, and I could practice mindfulness in many places. So I just seemed to be aware of what was happening internally and externally. So a lot of my practice, and I would call it meditation, was moving and mobile.
Okay.
And then I got introduced to sitting meditation, and initially I would sit, I'd sit to find something, and I realized quickly that if you're looking for something, then you're getting further and further into mind. So then I realized, okay, I probably shouldn't look for something. What if I just sit and then notice what's here?
Okay.
So then that was the difference. So now here's this receptive, yielding nature rather than this yang, efforting, that sort of thing. And so then when I started to notice sitting, then things would arise. And I went, oh, I don't mind this sitting meditation. I can get into it. I realized too that meditation wasn't about stopping thinking, because that doesn't happen too often. It's more so recognizing the space between the thoughts and then extending the space. And then once there's space, then you can enter the space, and then there's information in that space. So I feel that the mind will constantly be there chattering away. But what I found with the meditation was that. And so then when breathwork came into it, and we were doing the breath holds, and I was just in this state of, I guess, stillness, where there was no thought. I went, this is interesting. I've done all this meditation where thought seems to be present most of the time, and I'm feeling into the space in between, whereas when I was in breathwork, there were no thoughts. and there was just space. And that was a new experience. So so that then became the noticing. So I went, oh, hang on, there could be something here in this breath work and the meditation. So that's then I developed this this meditation that had the breath work prior to it, and just found it so helpful. Like, rather than sitting and meditating for hours, I could do a breath work and meditation that would take 30 minutes, and I was getting like answers to problems or concerns that I was primarily creating in beta brainwave state. But once you step into alpha, then you've got, you're in flow state, so you're able to see the experience from a different way.
So it speeds up the process.
I reckon it is, yeah.
And you probably get
it's a bit of a shortcut.
Better results from it.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
I think with my initial meditation practice, the problem I was having a lot of the time was I was just trying to switch off.
Yes.
And go to an enlightened state.
Yes, please, thank you.
But yeah, there were days where it would work and days where it wouldn't. But with breathwork, I've definitely found that it gets straight to a space, and it's not through trying to shut everything off. It's by focusing on the breath and just go into that altered state of consciousness. Before trying holotropic for the first time, I guess Ellie, your partner, had done it, and she'd had a pretty
profound experience.
Yeah. So going in, what were you thinking, and how was the result?
Yeah, it was interesting because mind naturally wants to replicate someone else's experience. So there's some type of expectation, and it's looking for it. Where is it? Is it going to happen now? So I was noticing how there was mind, noticing also how the mind was getting frustrated that things weren't happening, that sort of thing. So that's always a good indicator of, oh, okay, this is an opportunity that we can just allow the mind to be frustrated, and we're not frustrated. So, there's a mind that's frustrated here, and yet there's an observation of the mind being frustrated. So when I was able to then, in a sense, step out of frustration and into the observing space of noticing the mind, that's when things started to occur. So I found that the holotropic was a good way to holotropic, I find, any breathwork is meditation. It's just that it seems to be quite an active one. And then you then go into another state where you're not as active, and then you can then see things. So, and I find meditation, my life is my meditation.
Yeah.
It's not when I'm sitting on the mat that all of a sudden I'm all zen and I'm in meditation. It's sort of like, okay, well, what's the information? There's a constant information field around us. And if we can be in a meditative state whilst interacting with it, whilst we're moving and doing things, it's sort of like stillness in movement.
Sure.
Then I don't have to section off or quarantine time to find something. Life is always providing me with information that I can find that's relevant to the now, which seems to be the only moment that we have. I can't get out of the now.
Yeah, we can't, can we? No, we were talking a bit about the now yesterday. You mentioned before Stan Groff and how he created, or I don't know if he could say
he developed it and created it.
Yeah, okay. Holotropic breathwork as a way to get into altered states of consciousness. Because he had been researching with LSD and that all got shut down.
Yes. So when Nixon was out and they had the war on drugs, and there was these wonderful things that were happening with LSD and psilocybin. Stan Groff was one of the lead researchers in that space, and then they shut it down. And he didn't want to just stop. He was then going, okay, I wonder how we can access these non-ordinary states without psychedelics, without substances.
Yeah.
And that's when he developed holotropic. He also developed rebirthing breathing.
Okay.
So there's a couple of styles as well. And has just continued to increase the research and development around that too, in different applications as well.
Okay. Have you, in any of your holotropic experiences, have you experienced things that are similar to what you would experience with psychedelics? I know some people have said to me that their most profound experiences they've ever had was with holotropic breathwork, and other people that haven't quite had that experience.
I think I feel that they're different.
Yeah.
Psychedelics seem to be seems to be an intelligence that's guiding you through your experience, and your experience is sometimes you're finding things that you weren't even aware of, that maybe have been hidden from you for good reason. I found within my holotropic, it's probably more so a state of stillness for me, and releasing stuff, which would be similar to psychedelics. Yeah. I don't get the visuals, and when I talk about visuals, it's not like I'm closing my eyes and there's pictures in front of my eyes. With psychedelics, and with psychedelics primarily, the experience that I'm having, it seems to be in the back of the mind, or back of the brain, I guess, and it's information and images, like if you were imagining something, so not actual physical or visuals. Whereas with holotropic, I find I have visuals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Some patterns, some sacred geometry, some colours, some orbs. There's moving, there's shifting, third eye opening, going into different galaxies, universes. So that would probably be the psychedelic component. Sometimes I feel the weightlessness, like I'm levitating, even though I'm not, or even the arms will start to move.
Yeah.
Sometimes with the breath work, I'll lose my location in time and space. So I'm just not anywhere. And then once I've come back, mind is trying to consider, where am I? How am I lying? How am I oriented? Where is my head and where is my feet? So it's an interesting...
Almost like you left your body and you
That's
went back.
right.
Yeah.
So there's that type of experience has been quite common for people. And that's something that I can speak to.
And you've seen people have breakthroughs with breathwork?
Yeah, because we run it on a regular basis, we would have people coming into the centre, and they would constantly be churning through memories, churning through past traumas, but seeing it from a different perspective. There seemed to be some clearing of the system, and they'd be jotting it down. And then up to 2 weeks later, they'd be having more insights from the breath work that they had. Yeah. Some people, was a gentleman who came in, literally for the first year, all of his experiences were purely psychedelic, and he loved them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he came back, and then the next year it was pure pain, physical pain.
Really?
And, he just kept on going. And then the third year, he then came back to having these less painful psychedelic experiences. So whatever was happening for him was happening for him at that particular time, and he just continued with it, because you go, how come I'm in pain now? What's going on? I'd really like to have this, and so okay, well,
I had 12 months of that.
yeah, now I've got 12 months of this.
Yeah.
So it can shift and change for each person individually.
Yeah, I definitely found when I started practicing breathwork, I was amazed at how many memories came back to me. I don't know if you've had a similar experience, but things I'd completely forgotten from my childhood, all of a sudden I'm like,
Just pop up.
Yeah, like realigning these little neural networks.
And would you have like emotional experiences with those memories, or were they more just cognitive memories?
I think it depended on the state I was in. Sometimes there were emotional things that I'd gone, oh, okay, and I could see like how that moment from my childhood was affecting me now, and sometimes it was just like, oh, that was a cool memory, I'd completely forgotten all about that.
Yeah, so it was like they just bubble to the top of the surface of awareness.
Yeah. And each time I did breathwork, it was a different memory or two that would pop. So it's quite interesting. What are your thoughts on plant medicine and psychedelics?
Advocate of them.
What are the pros? What are the positive aspects of that?
Pros are, and primarily plant medicines that I've experienced are psilocybin. Cacao is a beautiful plant medicine. We find that tea seems to be its own subtle plant medicine. If we're looking at psychedelics, though, and from psilocybin, depending on the dose, will impact the experience. And microdosing can be like having a mindfulness coach on board. just noticing. It is a truth serum, so you then start to, that can be a pro and a con.
Okay.
So you've got to be discerning on how you share your truth.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we hold back, and then when you have microdosing, it sort of, that filter of holding back is now allowing yourself to speak your truth. Because what it's wanting to do is clear. Clear where you're resistant, clear where you're stagnant, clear where your blocks are, that sort of thing. It's wanting to show you basically. Some of the macro doses, and depending on which type of mushroom or psilocybin that you're having, they've got different signatures. So some are more shadow work, some are more playful, some are more gentle teaching, some are more spiritually based, that sort of thing. So there is differences within that. What we've found from journey work, when we've sat with people within their own journeys and our own journeys, that you can have some profound healing. Some of the research is suggesting that one journey, which is pretty much 4 to 6 hours, is equivalent to 200 hours of therapy.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. And as a therapist, I don't have to find what needs to be shown.
Yeah.
The intelligence of the of the mushrooms, because you're inviting it into your experience and you're allowing and opening yourself to it, it seems to be able to access your memories, access your beliefs about yourself. So, and as a therapist, I need to sort of draw that out of you. And like I said, it could take 200 hours for that to happen, whereas this is just done in such a succinct, concise, and compassionate, loving way.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's some of the pros.
Yeah.
Some of the cons are if it's set and setting. So if you're taking plant medicine therapeutically in a therapeutic session, there's intentionality around it. There's maybe some therapy before, and then there's ongoing therapy after. It can be a really well-held, loving container. But if you take any of those elements out, it impacts and influences the experience. For some people, they can, basically go into psychosis, and the reason why that is that it's not the journey itself. It's the integration. When you're coming back in, you go, well, what do I do with that? All of a sudden I'm God, or all of a sudden I'm this. How do I explain that to people? What's the use of that? What's the relevance of it? And people can get stuck in mind loops.
Okay.
That sort of thing. So this is where it's really helpful to have professionals, people that have sat before, people who understand the medicine, people who understand themselves and the medicine, just to help with that. There's some contraindications around particular medications as well that needs to be considered. Dosing is also important too, and your set and your setting. So if you're out, then sometimes you can, what they say, you can have a bad trip. I don't feel that there's anything bad about the experience. It's more so that you're not ready for it. You're not ready to see your shadow, or you don't know what to do with that. So you could have an experience where all of your trauma is being brought up for you, so you can then notice it. But if you aren't ready to see it, if you don't have the skills to integrate that, then it can probably re-traumatize you. Whenever I'm going to go into a journey space, even like macrodosing with mushrooms, I'm not going, yay, this is going to be fun, let's do it. It's all like, okay, there's a deep respect here, and I prepare myself for it.
Yeah.
Because this is deep work. You got to feel it to heal it. So if you're not very good at feeling, then it may impact the healing. It's like breath work. We say, if there's any discomfort within the body, if there's any thoughts or memories coming up, don't try to get away from it. Actually breathe toward it and get closer to it. because what it's showing you is that, hey, I'm here to be seen, and can I meet you? And so you can then meet it, and as you then meet it, then it then starts to change, and it might even start to dissolve, or it starts to get larger, and we start to find the gaps in between it, and then we can then move through the gaps and see what's on the other side of it. And most times we find that that was a protective mechanism. But now that you're older, wiser, and more evolved, we don't need to use that protective mechanism anymore. And it's our system, mushrooms are going, do you want to use this? I like it. It's keep or delete. Do you want to keep it or do you want to delete it?
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Now, if you delete something, and I notice with our phones, if you delete a photo, it goes into the deleted folders.
Yeah.
And it sits there for 28 days, and then it gets deleted, just in case you want to recover it. Yeah.
Do you feel we're the same?
So this is the same with our belief system.
Okay.
It comes up and goes, do you want to continue to believe this? You go, oh, no, that doesn't serve me anymore. Okay, cool. We'll put it over here. Until you replace it with something, we won't let it go.
Okay.
Because if we take it out, then you've got nothing to protect you. You've got no new programming, no new code. So what we do is we're replacing code. So keep or delete, but it's keep, delete, replace. Yeah. And then when you've got a replacement, then we can let go.
Yeah.
We don't need it anymore. So I find within breathwork that occurs. Throughout our natural day, that occurs. And also especially with plant medicine journeys, that occurs.
Yeah. Cool. There have been some interesting studies lately linking psilocybin to longevity.
Yes.
Have you seen any of
Is
that?
that the telomeres? Is it?
I don't know. They're not sure what the method of action is or what's causing them, but I think in mice studies, the mice in the experiment were living 30% longer.
Yeah.
It could come from a de-stressing thing. There's a guy called Brian Johnson, who's a pretty amazing biohacker guy, lots of money, and he's trying to live forever, basically.
Is he like, he's like 50 or 60, but he looks like a 20-year-old or something like that.
Yep.
He's pretty extreme.
He is very extreme. He measures everything. But he just recently did his first big psilocybin journey.
Oh, wow.
I think he did 5 grams, and he live streamed the whole thing. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, in an effort to enhance longevity. So
sure,
it is getting talked about a bit more.
Because I had seen that research. I didn't go into it too much, but I get it. The research is showing that if you have like a mushroom journey, it opens up the synapses. There's also research to show fMRI scans where we're normally in beta state, but what it does is it opens up all of the states. It's sort of like there's walls that separate the brain with information. All those walls come down and you've got full brain activity.
Yeah.
So that's why you can be cognizant of being in universal consciousness.
Okay.
All right, so you've got beta brainwave frequency activated at the same time that you've got high gamma. So this is how, in a sense, the ego or the mind can be somewhat present whilst being beyond ego and mind.
So it's activating regions of the brain that wouldn't normally be switched on together and probably shutting down other areas to allow that.
Yeah, and because it does it decreases the default mode.
Yeah.
All right, so all of the, from a parts perspective, all the protectors, they're sort of tranquilized and put to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, so then you can allow the healing to come, and you can also then allow access to informational fields. And I think sometimes we sometimes get caught up, it's in our brain.
Yeah.
But the mind's a really interesting thing, and recent research is suggesting that memory's not actually held in the brain.
Okay.
That it's held in the cloud, in the ether.
Yeah.
All right, so...
And our brain's more of a radar.
It's a transmitter and receiver.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you're picking up and accessing, so it makes sense then when you alter your brainwave state that you have access to a different informational field. So with that information, you can then bring it into this vessel, in a sense, and then do with it what you can. Yeah, and so sometimes with the cons is that information can be a bit too much for the person to bring back into this, in a sense, 3D reality.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes total sense. Speaking about plant medicines, I'd like to talk a little bit about another ancient form of plant medicine that you've recently been really pushing down, and that's tea and bowl tea ceremonies. And that's, for me, I was quite blown away with the first time I went to a bowl tea ceremony facilitated. So tell me a little bit about what that is and how that happens.
Yeah, so tea seems to be quite ancient, yeah, and pardon on words, there's a subtlety about tea, it's a really fine informational field. To access it, you need to quieten the mind. So what we find with bowl tea, so this is our table, these are bowls, and this is our beautiful side-handled teapot. When we offer ceremony, what I'm intuiting is that the mind loves bowl tea because all of the five senses are satisfied. So, oh, this is lovely. We want to come here. So there's no real resistance coming to tea.
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not like, oh, going in a mushroom jet, I'm going to be here for 4 hours and we're going to work this out. Or here's ayahuasca, it's 3 days, that sort of thing. I'm going to throw up and purge. It's tea.
Yeah.
So the mind's quite happy to turn up. Yeah. And while it's kept busy with being satiated and satisfied, other information seems to rise and we're starting to access it. And so through it, we find these sometimes profound experiences. Sometimes people come in and they'll have a to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the mind's really active and busy and go, oh, while he's quiet, let's check out the to-do list.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can be quite busy and noisy in there. And initially, it might be that for maybe the first 2 rounds, because we serve 4 rounds. But then after the 2 rounds, where we've given the mind permission, we've given it some time to go through what it needs to go through, we then start to find that there's a quieting of the mind. And then even to a point where there might be a stillness of the mind. And then I start to notice that mind comes in and has a narrative that goes, oh, we're not thinking. And oh, hello mind, So it's a really interesting observational point.
Yeah.
So everyone has a different experience, obviously, because everyone's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes when they do have experiences and we share, that it's quite relative to someone else's experience. So there seems to be a collective space where people may be accessing as well. And once again, informational field, brainwave state.
Yeah.
I'd be curious as to, I'd love to hook someone up to fMRI and then
Tea ceremony with everyone hooked up. That'd be super cool. Yeah.
So if you know anyone who's anyone out there who wants to do that, we'd be happy to be participants.
Totally. Yeah. For me, like, you invited me along to one, and I was like, okay, it's love Mo, love the space, love tea, but it was really profound for me the first time I sat with it, and I think I've done 4 or 5 now, and every time it's been like the best meditative experience I've ever had.
Why do you think that, or what are the elements that you've considered that promote that?
I don't know. There's something about sitting in space with other people and some of the controls taken away. It's a shared experience. The fact that we don't talk, like there is no talking in Tea Ceremony, it's an hour. I've experienced timelessness, healings from it, profound ideas coming to me. It's hard to describe. I know it's not just the tea. The tea is an amazing part of it, but it's part of that whole ceremony.
Yeah. And you could, from a tea service perspective, there's so much intention. We're naturally using water. So now we're looking at Dr. Emoto's work around programming water through intention. So you've got a group of people that are sitting intentionally based, even if they don't have an intention. Still, the intention is I don't have an intention.
Yeah. You always have an intention, don't you?
You always have an intention, apparently, because there's something observing. And then the ceremonialist or the ritualist, the servers, deeply in reverence of tea, deeply in reverence of the water, and how then the two combine, and the server is being the vessel or the conduit to then share this beautiful plant medicine to people. So with all of that love going into it, all of the intentionality going into it, it builds the space. And there's no, from the server's perspective, and I would imagine from other people's perspective, there's no conditions placed upon anyone else's experience.
That's true, yeah.
You know,
I do find with breathwork, a lot of it comes down to how hard I want to work.
yes,
Whereas with a tea ceremony, it's just show up and sit there and drink the tea and just, it takes you.
just wait.
Yeah.
Wait and watch. Just watchfulness, and it's incredible where it takes you.
Yeah.
Because really, you're just drinking a bowl of tea.
Yep.
And yet, there's so much more to it, and it's one of these things that's really a challenge to explain, other than come and sit in tea
And
try it.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely amazing. What types of tea do you normally serve during a bowl tea ceremony?
So we're expanding. We've been expanding and playing a little bit lately. For most of the tea ceremonies, which are done in the morning, it's a shalper. So shalper is it's a black tea in the process that it's been wet piled. So it's basically composted. It's got deep tannin, so it's very dark and very rich. Looks like it's really strong. Sometimes it can be. However, it's and it's got a very grounding, I think it's a yang energy, very grounding yang energy that sits you into your lower earth space.
Yeah.
So it can ground you, and especially beautiful at the beginning of the day, because you've come in intentional, grounded yourself, sat within some silence and stillness, and then are able to then go out and meet the day after that, versus wake up, checking the phone, trying to get to work, checking emails, that's straight away you're in beta.
Okay.
So I probably like to, the way I look at things is that what's the brainwave frequency that this environment is encouraging?
Okay. And what brainwave frequency do you think that is?
For tea, it would be easily alpha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like you don't transcend out of beta, but you've got alpha and maybe a blend of, so you're able to go out, pick up this information, then come back in.
Yeah.
Like when you have timelessness, you've gone out of beta, because beta is time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, totally. Yesterday we got the second cup or the third cup and hit that timelessness, and then all of a sudden we were finished, and I'm like, I felt like I'd been there for hours, and I couldn't remember how many rounds of tea we'd done. Yeah.
And it was only 45 minutes or something.
It was, yeah.
So, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But you've seen it help people through things as well. I guess, what kind of experiences have you seen people go through in bowl tea ceremonies?
Memories, healing memories, just insights of looking at things through different lenses. Probably even quite similar to some psychedelic experiences that people have had, just without the psychedelics. People get what we call downloads, and they're just writing stuff through it. Some people will literally go into a state of stillness and timelessness. Some people will see orbs and colours as well too. So that's what I mean. Like I'm continually surprised and amazed at what people's experiences are. Also, what we find too, the people who are proficients of plant medicines and psychedelics, all of the plant medicines seem to be like branches of the same tree. So once you've opened up your experience through these other branches, then this is another branch that can access similar information. So some people are actually having quite profound psychedelic experiences through tea.
Yeah. And there's no psychedelics in the tea.
And there's no psychedelics in the tea. We haven't found that.
Yeah. What took you down that path? Like when did tea ceremonies become a thing for you?
Yeah, look, I went to Bali one time, and I was just called there, and a friend said, "Hey, you check out these restaurants, and there's this place called Dragon Tea Temple." And I went, "Oh, that looks amazing." And then I went there, and literally the first sip of tea that I had, it was in a bowl ceremony, it was like I was remembering.
Yeah.
And it took me back to the Tao, the Tao Te Ching. And I had found the Tao when I was probably around 17 or 18. And lovely non-dual concepts, but I didn't really have an understanding of what that was. And what it did was turn me right around. And so now I was going, oh, that's right, the Tao. And then it just took me back into the Tao. And so, and the philosophy of the center is a non-dual philosophy. And it was interesting because I hadn't connected the Tao to being non-dual, even though it's the most beautiful non-dual teachings that I've ever seen. So
I guess for people that don't understand the non-dual aspect, could you explain that a little bit?
look, probably the most simple way is that there's only one experience experiencing itself through the many.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like we're being dreamed into existence. And the way that, it just as, when you have a dream, you have all of these characters in your dream. They're in your dream. So all of the characters are you. But you've created separation to suggest that that character is different to that character.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah? And then...
But it's all you, isn't it?
It's all you, yeah. And so in the dream, each character is playing its role, and you have a relationship with that character. So just pull that out, and it's sort of like God pretending not to be God. So pretending to be Mo, pretending to be Will, that sort of thing. And now in this dream, we're relating to each other, that sort of thing. And that's why we can say, the concepts of oneness. We're all one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's lovely, but I don't like that person. You go, okay, cool, but we're all one. So. The non-dual is that there's only one thing. So there's nothing outside of yourself. Carl Jung said, there's nothing outside of yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't see anything outside of yourself. So whatever you're seeing in another is a projection of what's existing within you. The Buddhists will say your external reality is a reflection of your internal state of being. The Hermetic principles, as above, so below. The first Hermetic principle is all is mind. So all of these teaching scriptures are just pointing to this oneness.
Okay.
Yeah. And that we're a fractalization of that oneness. Yeah. And yet, when we talk, when we look at the Tao, the Tao that can be spoken is not the true Tao.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can point toward it, but we will never be able to actually speak of it because it's beyond words. That sort of thing. Yet we can still conceptualize it with the mind. Yeah.
Interesting. And Bolti brought you back to the Tao and made you have that realization.
Yeah. And it was beautiful because it then started to consolidate even further the philosophy, the teachings of non-dualism.
Yeah.
Which then allows you to have a greater compassion for your fellow man, your fellow woman, because that's a reflection of me. That's another fractal of me as the one. Yeah. And I can be curious. Oh, what's your experience? Oh, this is wow, that's incredible. This is my experience. Wow, that's incredible. And there's a Buddhist phrase called compersion. And compersion is where we have compassion, but we also have celebration. Yeah. And so when I have compersion for another, I, even though I might not agree with their experience, I can still celebrate it because that's another me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's the secret, eh?
That's the secret. Yeah, because otherwise we sit in a world where there's separateness and that person's doing the wrong thing and they shouldn't be doing that, and you know what, they're pissing me off. If they'd stop doing that, if they'd stop being themselves, I'd be much happier.
Yeah.
Right? So, Will, can you stop being Will so I can feel better?
Okay.
Versus, wow, it's really interesting that Will is Will.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Can I celebrate your experience? Yeah. If it's not in alignment with my experience, I can still set boundaries.
Yeah.
But there's the recognition of, oh, okay, that's your experience. Okay, and I just want to honour that. This is my experience, and I'd like to honour that as well too. So there's sort of some of the teachings of non-dualism.
Yeah.
And and tea fits into that really well.
It's great. Yeah. So where do you want to take tea from here? Like where do you see it going?
Well, we'd like to share it with more and more people. We're looking at offering it to corporations and businesses.
Yeah.
Whether they come into the centre or we go to them.
Yeah.
It's just like a moment to be still and to be mindful and just notice what's arising. I find in business and in everyday life there's so many distractions.
Yeah.
and we distract away from ourselves. We don't really have time for ourselves. This concept of multitasking, you know, I can do multiple things, and it just seems to add more and more things onto our list rather than just doing one thing.
I could definitely see it in a business sense with a corporation, people just needing to
just
let go of all the noise and see where it takes them. As far as ideas, like the amount of ideas I've had in bowl tea ceremonies that just came out of nowhere and expanded rapidly.
So it could be, you know, encouraged and promoted as, you know, a beautiful space to access alpha state where the ideas are. You know, just come into stillness, that sort of thing. We would also like to, you know, we did a retreat over in Bali, and we took all of our teaware and we served tea there, and that was beautiful. So that gave us the experience of taking tea on the road. So we'd love to, you know, be invited to retreats. That can be part of the retreat. I'd just love to do a tea ceremony retreat. You know.
And I've seen recently you've been away at festivals. And you've done it as well. You've taken it on.
We've taken the tea on, and that's, you know, festivals are once again just an amazing experience within themselves. They're quite noisy. You know.
How did the bowl tea ceremony go there?
But yeah, not too bad. We sometimes take headphones. And we can plug those headphones in, and we can have multiple people sitting with the bit quieter music. That sort of thing. And then there's also, we also wanted to offer tea in different ways, you know, in festival spaces, and even with like a, you know, a mild psytrance type of soundtrack with tea. You know, so it's not just I'm going to totally zen out here. It can also be utilised as a way to guide the mind.
I found yesterday in the session we did, the music you had playing helped a lot.
Which is similar to like your psychedelic journeys, especially with the mushroom journeys. Great to have a good playlist, because sound just evokes emotion. It's a very important part of having you know, a new journey work. You don't have to have that, however, we do find that really evocative. So music is, music can tame the beast. You know, it's the heart and soul. Doesn't have to be words, and yet these images and words come to mind with it as well.
Definitely.
And
if people want to find out more about you and the centre and Ali and the bowl tea ceremonies, what's the best place to go to find out information?
To the website, innerlightmeditationcentre.com. There's a calendar of events there. We've also got meet the team, group sessions, what they look like. There's booking links on that too, and you can always contact us via mobile. Got Instagram and Facebook. We put some stuff up there, but primarily if they want to get in touch with us through the website.
On the website. Innerlightmeditationcentre.com. Easy done. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Mo, for your time this morning. Thanks for being the first ever guest on the Biohacker Upgrade. Can't think of a better person to start the off with, so thank you very much, man.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks, brother.
Welcome.
See you.